than she was, and slender, and his features were finely drawn. His eyes were dark and deep-set, and his hair was rumpled and curled over his collar, as if it hadn't been cut in a while. But his clothes were clean and pressed. He wore a blue plaid cotton shirt buttoned to the neck, over grey chinos. He looked cared for, Lauren thought. She introduced herself. "I'm Lauren Wilder," she said. "I live here in Hardy's Walk. Do you live here too?" He nodded and met her glance, but only for a moment. Still, there was nothing in his demeanor that caused her to worry for her safety. What she felt, and she would say this to the police, was concern for him. She would tell them she would have stopped for a stray dog. She would say sometimes people and animals get lost and need rescuing. They need help to find their way home. She wouldn't tell that she knew this from her own experience. The police would quickly learn of her accident, though, and given the nature of her injuries and their lingering effects, they would question her regarding the accuracy of her memory, whereupon she would insist her recollection of the incident was as good as ever, as if insisting made it so. But what else was there to count on in this world, other than your life and your mind, and the rational way the two things work together? The light changed, and the passing stream of traffic created a warm, oily wind that buffeted the legs of Lauren's jeans, the loose hem of her shirt. She looked back at the boy. Man, really. Her son and daughter, Drew and Mackenzie, were 14 and 11, respectively. But in a short handful of years, they would be in their 20s and considered adults. Her awareness that this stranger before her was no child gave her pause. Still, she asked for his name. Then, as quickly, she apologized. It wasn't any of her business, and if she was using him as a distraction to forget her own woes, that was despicable.
"My name is Bo Laughlin,"
he answered her readily, still looking over her shoulder.
"I live in a white house. Yes, a white house. I have a big dog named Freckles. My sister's name is Annie Beauchamp. I'm going to buy candy for her. I have enough, see?"
He pulled out a roll of cash held together by a rubber band, showing it to Lauren. "Oh, you should put that away." Her heart contracted with misgiving. Something was wrong, but exactly what wasn't obvious to her. His speech was precise and clipped, and while he didn't quite meet her gaze, his eyes were clear, and she saw intelligence behind them. He said,
"I should go now."
"Does Annie know where you are?" He didn't answer Lauren, only blinked rapidly at something real or imagined. She captured his gaze again. "Could I call her for you?"
"There."
He gestured to the convenience store some 50 feet beyond where they were standing.
"Go in there for candy. Thank you. Goodbye,"
he said formally, and then he brushed by her. Lauren turned, watching him go, and she felt helpless and confused in equal measure. Unlike her, he seemed so sure of his objective, and so completely unaware of his limitations. Given her recently lamentable track record, who was she to judge what those limitations were? And yet, once he disappeared inside the store, she got into her car, took her cell phone out of her purse, and sat staring at it for a moment. She should do something about him, shouldn't she? But calling 911 didn't feel right. It wasn't that sort of an emergency. She dialed Tara's cell number, leaving a message when her younger sister didn't answer, and then, keeping the phone in her hand, she considered calling Jeff. Not that long ago, she wouldn't have thought twice about it. But it was different now. Jeff was wary of her, cautious. He claimed to have forgiven her, but even if that was true, he hadn't forgotten, and he didn't trust her. Why should he? Most people were careful around addicts, even recovering ones. Lauren didn't blame them. She watched herself. She had to, after the way she'd slipped up. Panic was her constant companion, and it was as rough as a prize fighter who kept throwing punches long after the bell had rung. Even now, she felt the wild swing of its clutched fist battering her ribs, and bit down hard against it. She couldn't allow it, couldn't believe in fear that was grounded.